Hey folks, well today I want to show you another mouse trap that I made while I was on Vancouver Island. It's a fairly simple design that I have never done before, but I've read about. It's pretty common if you look back in some of the older books, even farmers types books. So anyway, before I do that though, I do want to show you something here real quick, and that's these t-shirts I had made. I have some white ones with my little design right here, and then on the back is my tattoo. And I've got some black ones as well. So there's the black with the white lettering and my tattoo again. I did a limited run of black ones and white ones to see which one folks would like better. The black ones folks seem to like a lot better, so I actually reordered some more. So far I've only shared it in one group and on my private page. But anyway, the white ones, I still have some of those left. Once those are gone, they're probably going to be gone for good unless I have a bit of interest in them. The different colors cost extra when you just, between the two and stuff. So if I just have one color made up, it keeps the cost down. So anyway, these are $20 shipped to the United States. The United States includes obviously Alaska and Hawaii, and I've checked into Puerto Rico and the U.S. territories. There, it's the same shipping cost. If you want one shipped overseas, you have to message me and I'll figure out what the cost is. But I've shipped them overseas and this cost as much as $17 just for the shipping. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. This is just kind of a fun way for me to have people show me support. I've sent them to quite a few people already, and I don't know, it's just kind of a fun thing for me to do. I've bought some shirts from other folks, and it's just a way to show them support as well. So anyway, if you're interested, I'm going to put my PayPal email right up there, and I have 5X, just a couple of 5X. Those are actually a little bit more. The bigger sizes are more. Those are $25. But anything from 4X down to medium, these are all adult sizes, they're $20 shipped. I have a few mediums and then a few of the other sizes in between. So from 3X down to medium. So if you're interested, PayPal me, include a message as far as what color and what size you want. If you want a white one, message me directly so I know if I have it in stock. If you're not concerned about whether I have it in stock, go ahead and make the payment. Like I said, send me a message with your address and the color and the size that you want. And if I run out, I'm going to order more. Or if you're concerned that you just want it right away and just want to know what stock I have, once again, throw me down a message. So, all right guys, just thought it was kind of a fun deal to do. All right, let's get into this trap. Now this is a trap, like I said, that I've read in some survival books, but also in some farmers books. So let me grab what I need. All right, folks. Well, once again, I'm going to use my bucket here. I found this bucket, not this one, but I found a bucket just like this on the beach one time, and it had all these little sea creatures all over it. It just reeked. It was pretty nasty. I wasn't familiar with whatever was on there. I hadn't seen what was on this thing before, so I didn't want to eat it. I tried to soak it in the fresh water to get them to release. Like I said, it smelled real bad, and I didn't want it around my camp, attracting. I didn't really have any bears in my area that I saw, but I always wanted to take precautions, and it smelled really bad, fishy, so I kept it away from my camp. I let it soak in some fresh water, tried to clean it up as best I could. It was a pretty dirty bucket. I wasn't going to use it for fresh water, so like I said, I used it for a couple different types of traps. And then of course, at the very beginning and at the very end of when I found it, I used it for a seat, because it was real nice not to have to sit on a mossy log that could, the moisture could absorb through your pants. Anyway, I've seen this trap before, and it's kind of a common trap. What I did is I filled this bucket with, 4 or 5 inches of water. And another thing that I found while I was out there that I'll do another video on, because it pertains to another aspect of me living out there, was I found a pallet washed up pretty high on high tide. So I broke that pallet apart and salvaged what I could out of it. And one of the things I salvaged, I had a few of them, but I salvaged some nails. And I just really took my time and used my axe and pounded the nails back out and really worked them. And I mean, it's a pain in the butt salvaging them when you don't have a hammer. But anyway, I salvaged some nails. So I had my bucket, and what I did is I took my knife and I made a hole in each side of this bucket, just so I could pass some string through it. I had fishing line, so I wanted to be able to pass some fishing line through it. And then I had a container, not like this at all, but this is the only thing that I have that's even close to it. And actually in one of the stumps of the trees, the big cedar trees had a lot of hollow areas, and what I had found was a canister of old bear spray, and you could tell it was real old, didn't have anything left in it. But anyway, it had a tip similar to this, and if I remember right, all this part was gone. Anyway, I just, right in here, where this little valve is, I think I just knocked, if I remember right, this either wasn't there or I knocked it off. And then I took that nail and I popped it inside of this aerosol can. And then on the back side, I did the same. And, you know, obviously careful that there wasn't any more ingredients in it or anything. But I popped another hole in there. So then what I was able to do is I was able to fish, they call it fishing in my line of work, but anyway, I was able to push a piece of string in through this back hole and out through the front hole. I can't remember if I used like a long needle, so to speak, like a stick, you know, a twig. Anyway, I got the fishing line inside of here. And what I did is I used a piece of fishing line, I tied it off to both edges and used that string like an axle. Okay, so if you could imagine, this is just sitting flat like this with this can right here in this opening and about 4 or 5 inches of water in there. Then after that, what I did is there was all these little hills, and one of the hills, this like embankment that had a tree growing on it, was like my tabletop. It was like my work table, and I had a bunch of different things that I would use on a day-to-day basis. Preset hooks if I hooked them or if I baited them during the day. I didn't bait them, but I had them all tied up rather. All my pre-tied hooks and just a lot of my gear right there that I could, for my day-to-day projects. And when after I was done eating, I would wash my spoon and I would lean it up against a tree trunk to try to just keep the animals away, and you know, the mice were kind of running on everything. Well, I noticed that the mice were, you could tell there had been where the mice had been, so I knew I had some mice up there on my tabletop area. This was before I started doing my deadfall traps, because this one to me was one that this trap I wanted to try. I've heard about it a lot, and it was pretty easy compared to, you know, experimenting with the Paiute deadfall. So anyway, from my little embankment, what I did is I had one of those boards from the pallet running down, and I supported it. So if my embankment was up here, I supported my ramp coming down, so it was resting on this. This axle would have been down inside this bucket a little bit. I kept it a little ways away from, I kept the ramp a little bit away from the axle, just so that the mouse would have to jump on it. And I put some bait right on the top right here where this trap is. So the theory is, the little mouse comes along, jumps on top of this to get the bait, the axle rotates and dumps him in the water. So that was my trap. Now the question is, you know, did it work? Well, I don't know if it was a combination of a couple of things. First of all, the old bear spray can did smell like bear spray still. It was actually a mouth-watering type of smell, because I tend to like hot peppers, or I used to a lot. So it just tasted like didn't taste, just smelled like hot peppers. That's what they make that stuff out of usually. It's a chemical, I can't pronounce it, caspium or whatever. Anyway, it smelled, to me it smelled good, kind of made my eyes water, my nose kind of tingle a little bit, but I mean, it didn't exude this horrible stench of bear spray or anything, but it was definitely a tainted container, you might say. So I don't know if it was that, or these mice were pretty smart. It took me a while to figure out and to outsmart them with my Paiute deadfall. Those mice were so smart that when I had my bait stick on my Paiute deadfall, I would take fishing line and tie smashed periwinkles with the shell and everything to my bait stick. I would tie it with that monofilament line, and they were able to steal that bait without setting that trap off. So they're pretty good at their job. Towards the end, like I said, I used some material. I think I said this in one of my other videos. I did the same thing in my fish trap video that I did for the Paiute deadfall. I took some of the material from my raincoat and I put the periwinkle inside of there and then tied that material to the bait stick, and that actually worked pretty good too. Anyway, for this ramp coming down, I put a little bit of bait on the very end of the ramp, and then I put some bait on the cylinder, the rotating part of the trap. They didn't even go down to check out the bait on the ramp. So that's what makes me think that the bear spray was maybe repelling them a little bit. But either way, they were pretty smart and they didn't fall for it. I had it out there for a while, and then I decided to go ahead and make the fish trap out of it. So anyway, there you go. That's another trap I made while I was out there on Vancouver Island. Once again, these t-shirts, just kind of a cool thing I made up. Give me a shout, message me if you want to know what I have in stock. Otherwise, like I said, I'll put the link up. You can just PayPal it. Make sure you include your address and your name, because sometimes your PayPal name is different than your YouTube name or whatever. So put your name, your address, the color, the size, and if you have a question about what I have in stock, give me a message. So alright folks, take care.